Good afternoon and welcome to the House of Grimassi. Today I am interviewing the beautiful songstress, Draven Ashley from the Cruise Machine. Ashley is an award-winning songstress and entertainer, and she has written a song that is in commemoration of Raven Grimassi, whom many of you know and was my partner for 20-some years. And tomorrow happens to be the second anniversary of his passing. And so we thought it would be very timely to talk with Ashley about the inspiration that came from her writing the song Raven Evermore. But first, we are going to ask Ashley all about herself because she has a fascinating life and story to share with us so that you will know where her inspiration came from originally and what led her to where she is today. So, Draven, would you like to talk about yourself a bit? Please do.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you for having me here today. I'm very honored to be asked to talk about my music and, of course, the wonderful Raven Grimassi. He definitely is a legacy, like we were talking about today, and we do honor him on his anniversary. So that's the song. I'll start with the song first, and maybe we can go back into more about my background, but I actually wrote Raven Evermore over a year ago. It was right before COVID began. And it was, at least I released it over a year ago, but it actually began when I went to his memorial. So I had the wonderful opportunity to take some workshops with you and Raven at the school I was studying at, the magical school in Connecticut, Enchantments. And I was the first time in my life that I was able to connect with spiritual people, witches that were so knowledgeable and fascinating and great teachers. You both were excellent.
Thank you.
And I had such a wonderful experience. It kept growing when you came back the next time. And I do remember telling you about my music when we were together.
Yes. I do too. Yes, I do too. I think we might have even heard one of your songs that day as well.
I think so. Yeah. And I slipped you my album, Seven, which is based on the 7 Deadly Sins.
Well, I was so impressed because although pagan music generally is very kind of melodic and, very ethereal, this woman does hard rock, and you will appreciate the difference between the two. It's just an added element and excitement to hearing pagan and witchcraft music. So go ahead.
Yes, so I remember giving you that album, and then I talked to you, I think like the next day, I just messengered you, and you both said that you were listening to it on your ride home and that you loved it, and you were rocking out to it, which I was like, oh. But it began, that little connection, because a lot of people don't know that Raven Grimassi was a drummer. Right. And he loved rock music, so it was just so cool that I was like, wow. So not only are you guys like incredible teachers and these wonderful spiritual people, you're badass, cool people too. So yeah, it was very nice to make that connection. But yeah, so I knew that, I called it my witchy rock music, which is definitely inspired from my path in the craft. And that was... that album was really big for me. It was really important to me, 7. I had just, moved back to Connecticut, and I had just put a band together, and I was not quite in a healthy place at the time. My mom was dying of PLS, and it was really tough, and I got sober. I almost died. I'm an alcoholic, so I'm a recovered alcoholic.
Yes.
And that time period when I had a choice to live or die, I chose to live and get healthy, and my spiritual life was so destroyed at the time that it was like starting from scratch. But I knew that the one way I felt so connected to being healthy was in nature, because my mom raised me that way, to always be, in the woods and enjoying the sunsets and the ocean. And so I kept going to nature to seek my spiritual life and to help myself heal.
Right.
Yeah, right. And you have to heal after you destroy yourself.
Absolutely.
But I always call it like the phoenix that rises from the ashes. I always say that's me because I had to die and burn myself to rise as a new being, an incredible being, actually. It's a very wonderful place to be when you heal and you learn that, you know, there's so much in life and you want to live. So my music became the healing for me. And 7 was everyone has described it as being a dark album because it's the 7 deadly sins.
Right.
My first big pagan rock video, I'm in the woods with fire and my elements are my band and the wind's blowing and it's just like, they're like, what made you write that? And it really was me coming out like, this is who I am, and I'm embracing what I was learning at witchcraft at the time, but also that, you know, I was fearless at that point because I was like, I'm doing what I want to do now.
Absolutely. I think rising as a phoenix gives you that fearlessness because you've been through that transformation, that visceral effect, you know. Yeah.
And I think my name arose from the ashes as well, which is Draven, my magical name, which the D was for dragons, and I've always had my connection with dragons for my whole life, and the R's with the raven, I put the two together and we have Draven. So when I think about the phoenix, it reminds me of that combination of rising.
But you also found out through some research that Draven also means?
Yes, when I chose the magical name and I was initiated with that name, I looked it up, and in the Scottish language, it means child of the dark and light waters, which is really embodies who I am. So I do have that darkness, like you had talked about earlier, that everything comes out of dark and black. You know, everything beautiful comes out of it.
All the potentiality exists in the blackness, yes.
So the light that I am able to bring out now is starting to come out in my music as well. And my next album, Draven, was more light. It had more of that element of connecting with Goddess, and I wrote Salem Spell and a lot of great songs that I'm so proud of, you know, but they were honoring elders, but at the same time, it was my connection with being a witch, appreciating who I was, and also sharing that with the pagan community.
Right. And I think that Draven, speaking about honoring the elders, that this is such an important element in the craft itself, that not to forget that these people trod the path before us and made all of this possible for us to continue to practice and to really be freer to, you know, expose ourselves and to add to society and to be a part of the growth of the world. And I just think it's phenomenal that you've chosen, you know, that aspect to really focus on in honoring the elders. And who are some of the elders that you have honored in some of your songs?
Well, the first song that was very strongly meant for an elder was Salem Spell. It was for Laurie Cabot. And that was really when I started connecting with Salem many moons ago. I call it, I always was gravitating going there in the fall time. In fall, like we all do.
We all do.
The witches all connect with the wheel of the year and the fall. And yes, all of a sudden honoring the dead and the ancestors becomes a huge part of who we are.
Right.
So I do listen to the ancestors. I have a incredible connection with the ancestors from the other side. And I was actually, when Raven had already passed, I have a very special connection with him. He did say, after I had written Raven Evermore, to continue writing for the elders. You need to write an album about the elders. And when I mentioned that to you, and I said Raven Evermore will be on my new album, we talked about the Wheel of the Year. So I said, whoa, maybe I can put the Wheel of the Year together with the elders and honor both while I'm creating an album. So I'm very happy about that. It's very exciting. So the new song that I'm going to be presenting to the world is called The Magical Child. And that is for Yule, the Sabbat of Yule, and bringing out the light at that time of year. And we had a wonderful experience doing some filming with you. So I'm honoring you in this video, Stephanie Taylor Grimassi.
Had a fabulous time doing this. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I hope that when the song comes out that you'll all really enjoy it, because Ashley Draven has put an enormous effort into not only the song itself and the music, but her vision of bringing the whole energy of that time of the year into manifestation, and I know it's going to be very successful. Not because I'm part of it, but just because your energy has really contributed to making that come alive. Very important.
I think that the best part about doing music videos is the journey of making them, like with the people that are involved in it, and you make this connection, especially since I'm writing about something that's spiritual and it's so close to my soul. And my music is my soul. So I know there are probably many artists out there that, they're performing artists and they do other people's music and everything is about, something fun or catchy or commercial. But I know that I chose this time in my life to kind of step away from that a little bit. I do think most of my songs are movie soundtracks. I'm totally convinced. Any of my songs you could put in any movie soundtrack and they would work. I'm like, wow, they're so theatrical. But of course, that's my background.
Yes.
I've been training my whole life. I started with ballet, which you can see the movement, in my videos.
Oh, absolutely. You're so graceful, and you just have a knack for being just amazing. Just amazing dancer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is. I love watching you do that. Love watching your videos, and I loved watching you in person.
That was fun. It was a little cold, but it was fun.
It was.
Yeah, so we won't share too much about the magical child so that you can appreciate the video when it comes out.
So just tell a little bit more about your training and your background, because it's phenomenal. I mean, as she's saying, there's a lot of performing artists who, not to take anything away from their music or their songs, but they pop on the scene and they do their thing and become well known. But Draven has an extensive background in her training, and why not talk about that a little bit, because I think it's important.
Since I was very little, I had wonderful parents that totally embraced my entertainment ability. It never ended. I think since the time that I popped out, I was like the drama queen. Yes, I started dancing at 2, like I would not stop dancing around the house. And at the same time, my dad would record me singing, which he has played some of these back to me. And I'm like, this cute little voice, it's just this. But yeah, I was just mimicking what he was having me sing, but I didn't know I sang songs like those songs. I mean, some of them were little Ray Charles and so forth, but he did kind of the basic like John Denver things. And I was like, I didn't know I sang those songs. But it's very, when I hear them, I go, oh, there's something familiar about it. But I actually started professionally dancing at 7. I had a private teacher. My parents got me very young. Her name was Bettina Boschman, and I used to go to her apartment, and she started there. And I remember I was a little kid. I mean, 2 years old. Who's going to pay attention,
Wow.
So I remember I was fooling around like the first or 2 classes, and she would put on my coat and say, "We're done." Call my mom, and she's like, "You're leaving now." And I would cry, and I'd be like, "No, I want to stay. I want to learn." She's like, "Nope, you're done for today. You behave like that again, you're going home." And that started at 2. So my discipline at that point, when I got to go, I entered into the Hartford Ballet Company. I was already disciplined to know that I had to behave a certain way, but then it intensified, because once you are a part of a company so amazing like the Hartford Ballet, it was back when it was alive and doing so well. We had an incredible artistic director, Michael Utoff. He has connections with the New York City Ballet. The dancers were some of the greatest I've ever worked with, but it was a very serious, disciplined environment since I was very little. And I thrived on it. I really did. Like I was able to focus and still enjoy what I was doing, like really get a lot out of it. And ballet I loved. Today I can say my feet are not happy with the point shoes.
So that's not an urban legend, that actually is true.
Yeah. But I was able to wear high heels till just about 5 years ago, and then that was not a choice anymore, because that's always been how I perform live. When I do my rock shows, I always had my 7-inch heels for hours. And
my gosh.
Because I carried myself with the ballet. You lift, you're on the ball of your foot. Like I could do that. It was very comfortable for me. Now being like more earth and grounded is a totally different way and approach of me singing. but I'm learning how to embrace it because I feel like also music and everything is coming from a different place.
Yes.
It's not so contrived in this way. It's just much more grounded.
Right. Earthy and organic and
exactly.
It just flows out of you.
Yep. And so I had Hartford Ballet for years, and I was at the Hartford Stage Company doing musical theater very young, 10 years old, my first musical, Baby June and Gypsy.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I was already started at 10. Wow. I was getting paid. I was like, I love this. Yeah, so I got early acceptance into Carnegie Mellon University in musical theater drama, which is one of the best schools in the country for it. And I'm grateful, and I'm a triple threat, and I get to use it however I choose. And have also that prestige to go anywhere and teach or to work in other projects.
Yes.
It is a good school. I learned so much, you know, having that opportunity to work with amazing teachers from all over the world.
And that's only a little part of Draven's life. My goodness gracious. Okay, so she's talking about her background, but her life experience too is incredibly interesting and expansive. And I'm going to leave it up to you as to what you would like to talk about. If nothing, that's fine. But I just find it fascinating, everything that you've been able to accomplish and the places you've gone and the things you've experienced just blow my mind. I mean, you're so fortunate. I mean, you're such a person who's just had this expansion, and look at you now, you're just doing this amazing new work and you're just thriving in that too. I mean, it's great.
Oh,
she's a Sagittarius, by the way.
Yes.
And we all know that everybody wants to be a Sagittarius. I am also one, as you may have found out just now. Yes. So, anything else you'd like to share about that?
Well, I can continue from where we kind of left off with Carnegie Mellon University, because when I graduated, I had the option to go to New York. There was all my friends had gone there. We were all auditioning for the same Broadway musicals and getting agents. And I told my parents, no. I said, I'm going to California. I want to go out west. I want to be a movie star. I know I can be this Latin Marilyn Monroe voluptuous thing. It'll be my, it's going to happen. Yeah. So they did not agree with my choice, but I went anyways. And against their will, I was out in California with no money, no place to stay.
Oh my goodness.
In the middle of the floods. The day I stepped off the plane, the floods began. It was one of the worst floods in the history of California. It was in 1992.
Oh my goodness.
And I just remember I was supposed to go to sunny California. And I go there, and it's a monsoon.
Where the streets are paved in gold and everybody's, suntan.
Right.
Yeah.
But it seems like at these points in my life, very dramatic weather was following in my footsteps.
Interesting.
So I do feel very connected to witchcraft with weather and storm. Yes. It just seems to connect with me very well. I feel that energy. It seems to kind of embrace me too. So yes, when I got to California, I was going to pursue my acting, which I tried to do. However, my very first date, I went on this blind date with a airplane pilot, and he took me to a bar at Santa Monica, and his cousin was playing in this blues band. And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, does she sing? I was all dressed up to rock it out,
Yeah.
So I said, sure. So I get up on stage, I start singing and dancing, and they're like, she's our new singer. So it happened that fast, not in acting, but in this rock world all of a sudden.
Wow.
And of all places, this place, my first bar that I played was called the Cock and Bull. Yeah, so I always think about the bull, I'm like, yes, that was me charging into California. The cock part, well, I can think of it as the rooster, because I am born in the Chinese year of the rooster. Okay. So maybe there's a connection there, but that was my first big gig too with my new band I put together there. So I had those guys. We made an original band called Taboo You, and we wrote an album, but we didn't quite put it out, but we were performing it live. So there's a lot of live performing in LA at that time, and the popular place to play, of course, was the Whiskey A Go-Go, which I got to perform at, which was unbelievable. I was telling you that on the stage there, you feel this energy of ghosts like everywhere. in the dressing rooms, you walk down the
Wow.
stairs, you can feel Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, when you're singing on that stage and you have the audience there. It's like you have your own magical world.
I can't imagine. I mean,
it gives me chills just talking about it, because I felt chills when I was performing there. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, there's so many artists that
Oh, absolutely.
played
That
there.
was the place. I mean, even
Everybody played there.
in the 60s and the 70s, I remember, I don't think I think I tried to get into it one night to see Cat Stevens, but it was sold out. But it was the place to go and see anybody who is anybody.
I know.
Yeah.
And I remember
Phenomenal.
being on that stage. I got my first tattoo that night with my sister.
What was it?
It's a wolf.
Oh my goodness.
I had a wolf at the time in California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who I loved. I rescued her there.
Oh, wow.
She was my partner for 11 years. And so of course, when we finished working together doing an album that we never put out, I kind of kept that. Like all that, it was all my experience in the West. So the album was called The West.
I love that.
But it was me emerging, it was becoming a woman and learning who I was out there. I was definitely exploring my sexual side and my shock rock, and I look good. You look good when you're in your 20s.
You look beautiful now, so don't take that away from you.
That was a pretty exciting time of my life.
Oh, I bet.
So there's some juicy songs on that album. And one of the beautiful ones, the spiritual ones that kind of led me now again into more of a spiritual realm was my wolf that I had for 11 years. And as you know, wolves in our witchcraft and anything that is spiritual, even the Native Americans, I mean, they are so prominent as a being that's so connected to us, our souls, and this other realm. And so having Nikita for 11 years was inspiration enough, but of course she fell in love with another wolf named Kiowa. So the song I wrote was called Wolf Child.
Oh.
And it's actually about her relationship with Kiowa. And it kind of was a mirror of my relationship with the owner as well. But it was a very passionate, sexy song that I wrote about, having a connection with a wolf. And I love that song. And when I perform it, anytime I'm live, I miss live performing so much right now. But when I get to do it, I get the whole audience to go, ow!
Oh, nice.
I have it in the song, so you're just like howling at the moon.
Oh, I bet they are too. I bet everyone's howling. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Nikita taught me how to just embrace that.
Yeah,
I think when you howl sometimes, it's like there's this connection with your voice and the energy of the moon at the same time that brings a certain kind of...
I think it's very soulful, very soulful, where it taps into something really primal, that, like you're saying, it connects with that lunar energy and with the primal call of nature. It's powerful. Absolutely. I think that's what it feels like in witchcraft too. People who really resonate with that is that primal power.
So that was a wonderful song. It's on The West. Yeah.
Oh man, that's nice. Yeah.
And I stopped doing rock for many years. I actually, because when I was in Malibu, California, I married a 5-star French chef, and we traveled the world together. So I had a very glamorous life for 11 years with him. We started in Malibu with all the movie stars.
So 11's kind of a number for you. 11 years with your wolf, 11 years with your husband, I'm going to say. Yeah, wow. Go ahead.
And I could always think of it too now because I've looked at numerology too, and also some of the things that we embrace with numbers as witches. But the one and the one is like God and Goddess. So the male and female aspect, is something that is always...
Well, and in the Tarot, 2 represents the High Priestess, and it also 11 represents strength. So, those, that's very magical in its own right too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Magical.
We know that. We know you're magical.
It's right here.
Yeah.
So yes, no, I actually, you're right, 11 years. So I really got to sing a lot of French music and international music at that period of my life.
It's so fascinating.
Having a background in so much singing and training that to sing other languages was... To have those French words in your mouth and the poetry and understand it and sing it, it's heaven.
Wow.
It was such a wonderful time of my life to have explored. I used to go to France a lot with my ex-husband, and Monte Carlo, and I got to sing there. His father would get me on stage, and it was, I really got to embrace the French culture. And I have to say, as though I'm Puerto Rican, Polish, and Lithuanian.
Oh my goodness.
I am passion, my dear,
Yes,
like to the max.
Yeah.
I have to say that I actually speak and sing French probably the best of all the languages, because I had that time to really embrace it and learn it. But yes, I got to do a lot of that. But of course, when I came back to Connecticut, we had a restaurant in Connecticut for a couple of years called La Vie en Rose. And I had a Spanish band that I performed with on the weekends there. I was the manager, and I was also the cabaret singer during the week. So I was singing French, and while people were eating, like, like you would do in Europe. Like it was very similar cabaret, so I called it cabaret, because that's where it came from originally. And so I had 2 different shows going on for 2 years there. And that really got me to have a lot of opportunity to test out my waters with audiences in Connecticut. And I said, I said, I got away with so much, like having this glamorous, very sexy, interesting show while people are eating, because I was the owner. See, now if I wasn't the owner, I probably would have got fired after the first show. But she's the owner. She's going to, sit in someone's lap or whatever she's going to do. They're like, they got to accept it, So I really had a lot of free reign to explore my creativity with cabaret singing.
And during that, did you cultivate, people that were regulars at the restaurant, and they must have loved it?
I actually...
It's so unusual.
Yeah, the biggest compliment I ever got was I got on a plane after several years after the restaurant had closed, and this little couple came up to me, and it was a woman, and she said, "Ashley, you're the owner of La Vie en Rose," and she hugged me, and she was crying. And she said, my husband passed, and when you made the best memories I've ever had with him at your restaurant.
Oh my goodness.
She says, when you came over and sat on his lap and started singing and tickling him with boas, she says, I was angry at first, but then I was so happy that he was laughing and we were having such a good time. And she goes, you're an amazing performer, and thank you for what you did. Because I always have that memory. So I realized at that point that I had a gift to share my music in a way that I could help people to have memories. And so that eventually led me into what I do every day, which is singing at assisted living and senior places.
Oh, nice.
I do that every day. I sing all over Connecticut, Massachusetts, and I use all my theater training, which at least I get to use it.
Yes.
And I get to sing songs that they love from their time period. So I do a lot of Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, Rosemary Clooney, and then I get to mix my French in a little because I get to do some Edith Piaf, and I get to do my own show. It's like, I call it my little Broadway cabaret that I do for them, and they love it because they went to the best theaters. They went to they know these people. I met a lady who sat right next to Ella Fitzgerald while she sang to her. And so the stories that came out of my performing this and connecting with people, it was the memories that I created. And a lot of these places, nursing homes, a lot of them were going to pass soon, and I knew that they were dying, and to give them hope and connection with music again, the one thing that always, you never lose that. Music is so powerful. It's like water. It can move through anything.
Absolutely.
It's
moves through time for them. And such an important quality for them to feel, like they've gone back in time to a space that was really, meaningful to them. And you recreated that for them, and that is really a gift. Absolutely.
And it's so healing too. So every day that I do this, I don't just heal them, but I heal myself. Because I realized that at that point, and I did that for 11 years so far until this happened, the COVID happened. But every day, I realized that it wasn't about money. Performing for me had that whole element of, I have to be famous or I have to make money. That was totally pushed aside because I was experiencing a high and a healing aspect of my life that I never knew could happen. And the connections I made with these people that maybe passed or crossed over was forever. And I think the most beautiful thing I was able to do was also staying sober, you know, so I could do something, I could help other people. But every morning I get up and I go into nature and meditate, I ask to be a channel, you know, for God asks, just a channel. Let me today, please just work through me and let me do whatever I can to heal or help people. And it just, wonderful things happen every day. Like I have such a, that whole part of my life now is like, it's like gold to me. It's like my golden eggs that I created, that I always have. And
absolutely. And it's still going to be going on. I know Ashley, Draven, I want to call her Draven. Draven was talking about how COVID has affected the facilities that she's gone to, and that because she isn't able to go there in person, that a lot of the people who, you know, were meaningful to you and you had a connection to may not be there when you go back. And that's really, you know, a loss during this time.
I've lost the 3 matriarchs of my places. I love them, Kay, Kathleen, and Edna.
Wow.
And they all had such a special place in my heart, and their families informed me of their passing. I went to one funeral. The other 2, I couldn't go to their funerals. But Edna, the last one who just passed a week ago, she was 107.
Wow.
She's a New Yorker. That's why she lived to be 107, she said.
No kidding.
She
There's something
walked
to be said for that.
everywhere. She was always moving. I learned that from her, like never stop moving. Like that is the key to keeping yourself healthy and you're mentally,
mindful,
physically, everything.
I agree.
But Edna, 107, she turned 107. I sang at every one of her birthdays. So I met her, so it was like 7 years I had known her. So 100 was her first big birthday I did. And when I sang New York, New York, she got up next to me. And I usually do a kick line, you know, with a few of the people that want to get up and try to kick a little. She got up right next to me and was kicking almost as high as I was at 100. She blew my mind. And she really helped me to understand how important it was to do what I do, you know, because every year doing her birthday and spending time with those people, it just made it richer and richer. Like I feel like my soul is so rich sometimes that it's like a waterfall. You know,
so
like
lovely.
I have that now. I have that wonderful fill. Like I always thought I had a hole there, and now it's just.
Well, and that goes back to the definition of Draven, the black and white water. You know, that's you just, you know, kind of just pouring that out, but you're also receiving back in. It fills your heart, it fills your soul, and then you're able to, you know, transmute that and just send it back out again. It's a beautiful, beautiful quality, and you know, I envy your talent to be able to bring that to people. It's wonderful. Yeah, I really do. She's amazing. I mean, if you haven't seen her videos, you need to see her videos because, like I said, beyond the music and the lyrics, her performance is just, you're mesmerized because it's not, you know, it's not an Enya video.
No.
So would you like to tell the folks where they can look up your videos and give you support and anything, you know, that's on internet, please give all that information.
We actually have a great website. So if you go to Cruise Machine, CRUZ, cruisemachine.com, you can have fun looking at all kinds of ways of looking at our videos through YouTube. You can purchase our music there. You can also read all the different articles and reviews about me and my band, Cruise Machine. But also I have a lot of my concerts on there, my online concerts. I got 2. I did Witch Fest in 2020 and also the Poconos Witches Ball for the Halloween in 2020. So those are on there. You can actually see like a live Draven Ashley concert.
Nice.
Not with the band, but the band's music is there. It's just, I've become my own entity now. That is important. I'm in the forefront. And if I travel and I perform and I can't bring the band for whatever reason, which is, there's a lot of reasons most of the time, I'm able to perform the music, singing live, but having my music in the background.
In the background, yeah.
And it becomes quite a show with my costumes.
Yeah. Well, in this day and age, you're so lucky that you can do that, you know, with the COVID going on, and, you know, you can still bring that to people. So I know you have your new song coming out, The Magical Child, but what else is on your agenda? Is there anything else? Are you going to be performing, I know virtually with, any festivals are coming up or any conferences or anything like that?
Yes, but before I go there, I just want to finish the YouTube.
Yes, of course.
To find me on
course.
YouTube, we have our own channel, and it's actually Cruise Machine put together AC.
Okay.
So you can see all the fabulous videos we've done and created over the period of time that I've had my band.
Right.
So that's a really important
So
channel.
when Draven was with her band, when she first started with the Cruise Machine, she was Ashley Cruz. So that's why the Cruise Machine AC is there, but you know it'll be her. So.
And if you want to see my cabaret stuff, like my articles or little clips or so forth, you can go to ashleycruz.com. That has all my kind of fun, connection and pictures with my seniors and music from there.
So before you talk about what upcoming things are going on.
Here we go.
Well, wait. Before that, I want you to talk about something else that might be happening in September that has to do with an award.
Oh, yes. So, I was recently nominated for the International Pagan Music Awards it's Female Artist of the Year. So I'm very excited about that. I'm honored to be nominated. It's the people in that whole genre of the pagan music. There's a lot of variety, but some very talented people. So I'm just honored to be a part of it this year. So
well, you deserve,
nice connection.
You're deserving of it. So congratulations on being nominated.
Thank you.
And we'll wait to see when you get the award in September.
Oh, yes.
So with that being said, then, so what projects do you have coming up, or any kinds of performances, or participation, interviews?
Oh yes, no interview. Everything is happening quickly. So our interview, which I'm so grateful to be here with Stephanie, I'm actually going to be on This Old Witch, March 20th. So
nice.
That'll be it's 7 o'clock, 7 to 9. And This Old Witch is a podcast with Alexander Cabot and Eddie Massey. They've been doing it for this past year. It's really a very nice podcast. They have amazing elders. They do honor elders on their show.
Nice.
And now they're just starting to incorporate a few more musical artists.
Nice.
They did have a wonderful musical artist named Susan Parramore on there in the very beginning. She is an English high priestess and druid and bard of the everything in England, and she's also an opera singer, and she has albums, all kinds of pagan amazing albums. So she was interviewed, and I thought it was a great interview. If you ever, because they save all of them, they're on and they're on iHeartRadio. You can click on there, or you can click on through Facebook. So they have a lot of different ways to watch. Even if you miss the interview, you can go watch the old ones. They're all there.
What was the name? How would they
and
find
on
it
YouTube
again?
as well. It's just this old witch.
Okay.
Yes, This Old Witch.
Okay.
And so I'll be doing that March 20th, and we'll be talking about the magical child on the interview. Yes, and perhaps, maybe, we will be premiering it for March 20th. We will see how that goes. Yes, I explained that I am a witch and I can manifest things to happen. But we will see if that happens. It would be nice to premiere it there. They're looking forward to that if I can make that happen. We'll see.
That's so exciting.
Oh my gosh. I want to just scream, but I'm containing myself to...
With dignity and grace.
Yes, and to go with the flow of the universe, because if it's meant to happen, it will happen.
Of course.
And
with a
little extra. Yes, we'll do the extra. Yes. But I was also asked to perform this year, and I just got the whole invite and everything for the Poconos Witches Ball again around Samhain.
Okay.
So I'll be doing that. I don't have I think it's October 23rd. It's that weekend.
It'll still be virtual?
Yes, they have to do virtual again. I think all the witch festivals are still going to be online. They're not doing anything in person that I know of.
Yeah.
So
I was hoping that by October, we'd be back on the flow of things, but we don't know.
You have to they still have to be very careful, and planning that far ahead is a serious amount of getting the right people and if you were going to travel, then that's a whole other situation.
And all the logistics of having to still social distance and wearing a mask and, implementing all of these things that have to be done. So I understand that too. It's not just Oh yeah, in October we'll be open again. No, it's all of these other elements that come into play too.
The nice thing about when I did the Poconos Witches Ball last year was I was Santa Muerte. And I had this amazing makeup with half my face as a skull.
That.
And I had the beautiful crown with the nails and the skulls, and it was so, and my nails. I got to perform in my backyard live, which was amazing. I had the tiki torches going, and it was so much fun because I was, at least at home, and I knew the sound was going to be phenomenal.
Now, is there a video of that?
Yes.
They can find online?
If they go to cruisemachine.com, my concert is there as well. It is actually, if you look on YouTube, you will have to look for Draven Ashley, because it'll be Draven Ashley concerts.
Okay, people.
Yes.
So you've got
Draven
a couple of different things to look for.
D''Raven.
Right.
Yes, that's how you correctly spell it for Scottish. But yes, so that's on there as well. But so I'm excited to do that again. And then of course I'm looking forward to doing Witch Fest again this year. So I'll be doing that in July.
Okay.
I'm not sure what they're going to do about the parade. They were thinking about this year for Witch Fest to actually have part of it in the location. So they might do the parade maybe, but it also depends on what's going on in New York at the time. They might have some of the artists in the street area where they usually have it, and then do some of it online for people who are farther away and don't want to go to New York.
Right.
So I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. I know it's going to be huge because last year they had performers from Australia and England and all over the place.
Well, that is one of the good things about doing virtual is that everybody from all over the world can participate. That really is a phenomenal thing that's come about.
And we get to meet each other.
Yes.
Which we wouldn't really get that opportunity unless we were going to a specific festival or...
Absolutely.
So I've made some... Oh my gosh, my connections are I just keep going now. This year has been very productive meeting people online.
It's only been not even 3 months into the year yet either. So there's lots of good things happening.
I'm excited. Yeah, I really am. So those are the big ones.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the folks out there that I haven't covered or we haven't covered together?
I wanted to share just a little more about Raven, Evermore.
Absolutely.
The music video. I actually filmed that in my beautiful sacred area where my woods are, and my tree that I go and see all the time, that I kind of connect with Raven there. And when I was writing the song after his memorial, and when I was at the memorial, I have to say you did a beautiful presentation of representing him there and sharing about him. I must have cried through more than half of it. I mean, everyone who spoke, especially Christopher Penczak.
Yeah.
I can't get his speech out of my head because I actually wrote down a couple of things and they're in my song that he said during the speech. And it was one of the big things was the power of 5. He had talked this big thing about 5 and the card 5 that was connected with Raven. And so all of that came into my song.
Oh my gosh.
It was like parts of the memorial, parts of how I met him. And I do remember going to the tree in the woods when I was writing the song, and I really needed to come up with we call it the hook. It's like the chorus. It's the most important part of the song when you're putting a song together. And I asked Raven, I said, what is it that you want me to share with the world? And I took a deep breath, and right in my mind it came through, and he said, death is not to fear, I am here. And I said, oh my goodness. I'm like, that's it. That's what I sing in the chorus.
Gives me the chills, which, Raven always said when you get the chills, that's I'm getting them really strongly, that's an affirmation from either the beloved dead or our ancestors, validating that, what you just said. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. And that's true. Yeah. Absolutely.
I do feel his legacy will always go on.
Absolutely.
And so when I called the song Raven Evermore, not Nevermore.
Right.
I wasn't doing Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
I was doing Raven Grimassi as his own thing, which is Evermore, which means it goes on forever.
And ironically, Edgar Allan Poe was one of his favorites.
Yeah.
He memorized the whole poem, The Raven, and he recited it, I think he told me, in junior high. Yeah. So there you go. That connection is there as well.
See? Yeah. And I learned something new about the reasons it all came forth.
That sun is starting to come through again.
I think it's because we're talking about Raven.
Yes, it's shining light.
Yes. And we do love him, and his anniversary, we have the white and red roses.
Absolutely. the living river of blood and the bone memory is represented by these two colors of roses. And Draven's right. Raven will live on evermore, and what is remembered lives in our hearts forever. And I appreciate so much that you wrote that song and recorded it and presented it to the community as well as to the world.
Yes.
And this interview, we will attach the song to that. So when you listen to the interview, you will also be able to listen to this song that Draven wrote. And I hope you really enjoy it because it's very special. So there we have it. It's wonderful again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, and it's a delight talking to you as always. You know, your energy is awesome, and we just have a really good click together, a good synergy. I really appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
Yes, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Look for Draven on the internet.
Yeah.
And listen to her music and watch her performances. You won't be disappointed.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.